Alright, let's do this. So hello there everybody and welcome back for another week of Wargames Tutorial Thursday with your host, your favorite Finn TMS. This is a weekly show about news and, well, news of the development of the Interstellar Marines and a weekly community wargame. An unofficial one, and yeah. So much for the introduction, I suppose. And let's get to the quote-unquote news, which, well, there ain't any. And in case somebody has been wondering where have I been for this, like, it's been about, what, a month since the last one of these that I have done. And as I mentioned on the channel update video, I've been doing training at work, and that has taken all my time. And not only that, my health physically and mentally has degraded quite a bit, which is also why I'm not so high energy right now, because yeah, there has been a lot of stuff going on, which yeah, haven't really had energy nor time, because sometimes the hours that I work at are, well, when I would be normally doing this. But yeah, both mental and physical health have degraded quite a bit for some time now, and slowly but surely trying to fix that. And, well, also there hasn't really been any news to tell, which has also gone for the... is also the reason why there haven't been any of these live streams lately. But mostly simply because the work. On the bright side, however, thanks to that, I am getting a part-time job for the summer from them, because I've been working my ass off trying to show them my epic lead skills. So yeah, that's more or less what's going on in my life currently. And yeah, stuff got so bad that I stopped doing more or less all of the content of my channel altogether, with small extra, what do you call it, yeah, like, I believe last week there was a couple of Heroes of the Storm Discord in-house tournament videos, so I decided to just cast it out of random. So, aside from that, I really haven't done any content for a long time, because that's how bad the shit got. But now, I'm back and doing this stuff, and, well, I've been rambling enough about me, nobody gives a shit. Let's get to the news, and like I said, there literally it has been nothing. It's been quiet for the entire time. Like, everything is dark, there's nothing to really tell. The volunteers aren't telling anything. I'm not hearing anything from the Spectre or Kim. All I know is that Kim has a lot of stuff going on in his life too, which, I mean, he has more, the way I see it, Kim always have had some stuff going on, and yeah, it's kind of surprising that it has taken this long for all that stuff to catch up to him, I suppose, in a way, in a lack of better explanation. So, yeah, there's literally no news. I have no idea what are the volunteers doing. As a matter of fact, yeah, I would probably go as far as to say that half of them aren't doing anything. I know that they are some of them are working on stuff behind the scenes, on some stuff that probably won't be making it the light of day for years. But as things stand, from the looks of it, there is nothing going on the background, at least to my knowledge. Aside, well, 50% already. And yeah. But once again, the whole idea of trying to get the okay. The whole idea of getting a YouTuber to cover the game has once again surfaced its head, and I'm going to dedicate this particular live stream ranting about that particular thingy. Ugh. So basically the idea is get a YouTuber to cover the game, to get the ball rolling, you know, get exposure, get new people getting in, all that stuff. Sounds great in paper, right? But in practice, well, I'm gonna go very in depth to explain why this whole idea of currently trying to get a YouTuber in is not going to work out. And it simply comes to the mathematics of the thing. Well, first things first, let's start getting the ball rolling. I think I already explained this once, that more or less I'd argue that the ball has stopped rolling already. That was, you know, after 27 got the updates rolling again and all that jazz. But it is clearly anybody can see that the ball has stopped. And so this whole idea that you know, nothing's going on right now. So how would the YouTuber change a thing? It wouldn't. Let's be frank here. Like, just getting more people looking at it isn't gonna change a thing. Like, the update 27 had quite a bit of people coming back in, and here we are, waiting for update 28. No news, nothing at all. But also, let's talk about the whole YouTuber aspect to begin with. Oh, Joe. So, why would YouTuber look at this game? There are no search for this game at all. There's no player base for this game at all. The player base is just hibernating. What are you trying to do, Fenris? So, you ain't gonna get any new viewer, new subs, or anything. You ain't gonna get anything for covering this game. Oh, well, Bleed House is probably long gone from here. Essentially, there is no point for a YouTuber to cover this game. You ain't gonna be showing up on the search results. You are not going to get any new viewers or subscribers. And you're not likely getting any views because people probably ain't gonna be interested. There also is no content that would keep a YouTuber playing this game. Sure, you can make a video of the co-op missions and then maybe Wargame, 1 or 2 videos. And then nothing. So, you ain't gonna be getting any content out of this game. Not any interesting one for that matter. Especially with the lack of players and all that. So, you're not gonna get views. You're not gonna get new people watching the video. You're not gonna get new subscribers. And you're probably not gonna make any money for covering the game. Just to name few reasons why no YouTuber would look at it. And I would guess that some would pull the argument that I'm only saying this because I'm making all the content right now, so I don't want any quote-unquote competition. But in reality, I would greatly benefit of a bigger content creator putting the game on the radar, because then my videos would get in the search results. They would show up on the search results on the Interstellar Marines. But no people are looking for those search results. The only people that really look for come with these videos are the ones that are specifically searching for these videos. They are not some random people like, oh, I wonder if there's any stuff going for the Interstellar Marines. There might be 1 or 2 every now and then checking, but they are probably just gonna go to the official Interstellar Marines YouTube channel to see if there's any new videos there and stuff like that. But the people who search my videos already know my stuff. There's no new people or anything, stuff like that. They are people who more or less already play the game currently, usually on Thursdays, and if they can't, well, there you have it. So, if somebody, bigger YouTube content creator came over here, I would welcome them, because that would just make my channel grow, because they are bringing the search results. The search is coming from them, but it's not beneficial for them to cover the game. Understand? Sure, you could get a bunch of small channels, and a lot of small channels have done videos of the game, but again, there's no real impact at all. It's just people trying to get news, not news, views. That's what small channels do. They just do a lot of videos and hope that, especially out of the mainstream ones, such as Interstellar Marines, because hoping in one day hoping that those views, the video gets views because people actually start searching for this stuff. Or, just like I have covered some old games because, I know people might at some point search for the old games. I have a lot of content on my channel for a whole bunch of videos. There are very few of the mainstream ones that actually get views. So, if I want to grow my channel, I need to go for the smaller games that are less searching. Like, what the big YouTubers don't really cover. Because if a big YouTuber, let's say, PUBG, using that as example, there are so many videos of PUBG. Everybody's doing PUBG. So trying to get your video somehow show up from there is, you get the idea. But if you're covering Interstellar Marines, you're more likely to actually, because very few people actually create content, especially frequent content of Interstellar Marines. You're basically putting a gamble that that's how your channel gets started. Like, you gain the small viewer base from there, and then repeating the same on a bunch of other games, and you get the picture, I guess. But also, another reason why we do not want a YouTuber to currently cover the game, because, well, as I already said, there are nothing to really do in this game. Not only that, we all know how much there are people who hate the current state of the game and everything it stands for and all that jazz. And, like, it doesn't matter if a markiplier comes in and says, this is a great game, when all that's gonna happen is... where are you, my friend? I have the lights on and all the dust is picking up. So even if Markiplier did play this game, or PewDiePie or anything like that, sure, the game would get probably some sales and some search and all that jazz. But overall, you know, people would just shit on the game. Like, we all know people already shit on this game enough as it is. We don't need more of those people in. And that is, it's just gonna, you know, deter even more people from ever looking at the game ever again. So, again, it's kind of pointless to get any of that stuff. Alright. Fucking. Gonna start poking up some peeps. Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Someone's trying to take a pot shots at me. I really need to turn off my lights to be able to see anything. I presume I am safe here. Excuse me for the bush. I'm just gonna turn off the lights. And thus. So, the YouTuber doesn't benefit from covering the game. The game doesn't really benefit from a YouTuber to covering it in its current state.
Alert. Subarctic. Drop crate. ETA 60 seconds.
Really, the game just needs to be worked on. And then, when it's ready, then let them cover. Incidentally, it would be much more efficient to get the Unreal Engine demo and send that to a bunch of YouTubers and let them play that instead to sell the vision for the people. And letting the YouTubers know that that's not what the game currently is. It's nowhere near, but that is what ultimately they want. Oh, that's Joe over there, for sure.
Alert. Resort. Alignment initiated.
but he's not gonna be able to shoot me from there. But I don't think he's the one who shot this crate to begin with. Sneaky position. And while we are on the subject, I'm also against Patreon until somebody comes up with the actual idea. Like, the whole YouTuber thing, it always boils down to get more coverage, get the ball rolling, but we already have seen it in the past that it doesn't happen. Like, the ball gets restarted and then it stops. That's unfortunately, that's just how it goes within the Stellar Marines, unfortunately. A YouTuber isn't gonna change a thing. So, yeah. If you're gonna suggest something like that, come up with an actual argument other than that the game needs to be covered, and it really doesn't need the coverage right now because there is nothing here to show off or do. You more or less would have to recreate the Unreal demo or just use the Unreal demo to actually show off the potential of the game. And none of that stuff really is here. The whole Wiser thing is just a bit, but aside from that, yeah, there's nothing. And yeah, and then again, the whole Patreon thing, I have said, I'm sick of with these arguments because it's like, people are all about, yeah, support the game, yada yada yada. But that's their only argument ever for it. They don't think it through or anything like that. I made a huge ass post one time actually arguing for the Patreon. The one and only time. Because I have shot every single idea down. So I figured, you know what, this one time, I'll make it the other one. I came up with a pretty decent Patreon plan. How it would work out. With actual rewards to give people incentives to keep on actually paying in Patreon. Because they expect rewards and all that. Not a single person has come up with anything like that. They are all just saying it's for the support of the game. Like, as if. The people who keep suggesting that, I don't expect them to put even $5 into the line. Maybe for a first month, and after that they'll unsub from the Patreon. Like, I don't expect really any one of these people to actually put in any of their money in, but they want the Patreon option anyway. So, when you come up with the ideas like that, please have a proper argument behind them. It's not rocket science, really. Yeah. And even my Patreon idea, it wouldn't really...
Alert. Jungle. Drop crate. ETA 60 seconds.
It is far from perfect, my idea. But it is the only one that I actually would view as a realistic idea. For now, at the very least. Until somebody comes up with a better idea. And it more or less involved bringing back the Kickstarter rewards. Amongst the other things. And all that jazz. It also involved doing similar stuff to the PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds with the PlayerUnknown set. Whereas, you know, that was the pre-order bonus. And it was marketable / tradable, so there would be an armor piece, full armor set for Patreons.
Alert. Exercise concludes in
That you could keep on purchasing over and over again, like basically investing. So you would eventually have a whole bunch of the sets, and at some point it would no longer be purchasable. So those people who have accumulated a lot of those armor sets now can sell those armor sets for a profit. Similar to the PlayerUnknown set. Basically investing to the possible future. It is a risk, but at least they would get something for their money. Whatever they get money back from it, well, only time will tell. As with the PlayerUnknown set, if... Holy shit. Well, I hope I'm safe, but judging... Nope, I'm safe. Off we go then. Oh, no, I'm not safe. Oh, snap. Well, I was not safe. Not on that rock. But yeah, that's just one of the examples of the ideas. Now, when I said marketable and tradable armor, the few people who heard this idea outside of the... originally it was posted only to the devs. But when I made it public, the people didn't understand it and instantly were all like, no microtransactions, no, like, they completely misunderstood the idea. They expected something like cosmetic boxes and items, when really there would not be any aside from the Patreon armor set. It literally would be the only thing that's actually marketable. The game wouldn't have a marketplace like PUBG or what do you call it, CSGO, or really anything like that. You'd only simply be able to sell the Patreon armor set. So, yeah. Which also would be another source of income for ZPS when people start selling those armor sets. Because, you know, for every trade they will get a portion, if I understood correctly. Which is also why PUBG and the others keep doing it, because they know. Oh, and PUBG absolutely inflates the prices artificially before making the stuff even available for the players to be sold. Whenever you got a new clothing coming in, did you notice that before the crate, basically the day one the crate is out, there are a lot of these items available for hundreds of dollars. But when you open that said box, you have to wait 1 week to actually sell the item. Why? So how do these other people? How do they have? How can they sell that item if it's only been 1 day? The patch just went live and you had the first crate and you open it. They have to wait 7 days. So how are they selling? The simple answer, they are not. Those are just something the devs have themselves put up there on some random stuff to inflate the prices to the highest possible. So when those items do get, well, first of all, they're all gonna get, there are people who actually buy that stuff. And there's gonna be a lot of those items that are gonna get sold with that price. So they are just making money. They are literally printing money that way. It's like, oh hey, anybody wants this shirt that you can only have in 7 days and sell it? And after the 7 days, when everybody is able to sell it It's gonna start high and then plummet to low. But basically, they have jacked up the price with their inflation because, you know, they artificially made a price for it by setting it high. And now, people will, of course, they want as much money as possible for that item of theirs. Bye. Oh boy, it's gonna be tricky-dicky getting to my box. But yeah, you get the gist of it. However, as I mentioned, this... Ah, crap. Oh, I'm fine. Le Patreon armor set is only something you can get by Patreon by X amount of money. It's not something, well, you can't sell it, and that's why it would be marketable and tradable, because it gives people to actual reason to keep on paying for that stuff. Because, you know, there are only so many people who will just, you know, keep the Patreon up for the love of the game. And only for so long. But if you get something in return, like an armor set that you can sell, then people are a lot more willing to go with the whole for the love of the game. The support medals themselves are living relic of this whole thing. People purchased only so many because you don't get anything in return. And you know, when this whole shares came into the picture, a lot of people actually bought the support support medals, because you would get the company shares for it. I remember there's that one guy who famously got 10,000 support medals as a sort of invest. As a, yeah. There are some people, but again, he did that when the shares, he got something else other than for the love of the game. And that is why Patreon isn't gonna work out just on its own. You need to give an incentive for people to actually put their money in. Another good example of the incentives actually working would be the game's done quick speedrun thing. Save the frames, kill the animals. Kill the animals, save the frames. That is a perfect example of actual donation incentive for people to put in. Sure, they are putting it for the good cause, but there's a lot of different reasons for people to, because they get to affect. They are putting the money for a good cause, and they get to actually affect some stuff. Well, but you need if you don't have incentive for people to actually pay on, other than, you know, for the love of the game, like, it's just, God, I'm so sick of this shit. It should be noted that, yeah, I don't know anymore. I'm so sick of going over this goddamn topic over and over and over and over and over again, with the same people just going with the, well, no, we just need this idea, and with no actual stuff to back their argument up. Like, they have no... People have unrealistic expectations, and that is my problem with this whole thing. They, like, if there was a Patreon up, even if it was with my own idea stuff, I probably wouldn't put a single cent in this FPS. Patreon. Sorry if it comes as a surprise for anyone, but I don't have any money to do that. Great if you want to put in. Like, if I win in the lottery, I will fucking fund the game. But until that, I can't put any money in. And that's gonna be the same for a lot of people. Sure, we can all keep saying and dreaming and all that jazz. But who are actually willing to do anything? The answer is very few. It seems like somebody has fallen through the floor. And yeah, it should be noted that if any of the volunteers are watching this, since I mentioned that probably... it seems like they aren't doing anything. To be honest, I don't... In my own words, I think there are some volunteers who literally have done nothing so far. I don't know. I could be absolutely wrong. However, me spouting out this shit doesn't mean that I'm out for your throats. I don't give a shit. I have no reason to offend any of you. But if you do get offended, well, that sucks. It is kind of a sensitive subject. I simply can't be asked to kiss someone's ass to get my point across. And the simple point is that, well, right now it doesn't seem like anyone's doing anything. And there's nothing that would suggest that people are doing stuff. I know for a fact some of the volunteers are doing something, but only some of them. Like, there are what, 20 volunteers? And I have never heard a single thing from like half of them. Some of them probably aren't even really allowed to talk, and they are simply afraid of doing so. Because of the NDA, and yep, I figured as much. I heard someone take a step, and I figured, you know, this is way too... It was an obvious setup, but knowing me, I can't be asked to sit and wait and all that jazz. And also, speaking of the whole getting offended, I swear to I fucking hate people who can't argue without getting offended. They have to derail the entire discussion because they get offended of somebody not kissing their ass or being nice to them, quote unquote nice. Like, I don't give a shit what you call me so long as you keep the conversation rolling. Or the argument rolling. Like, we can be discussing, like, how would I say it? Oh, I don't know. I'm out of ideas. Whatever something's good or bad. To be honest, for me, for instance, the whole aspect of good and bad, good or evil, is simply... a matter of perspective in all things. What is and isn't evil or good is simply a matter of where you stand on the line at the time. In all things. But somebody else might think something else. But instead of arguing their point, they are too busy telling me that I'm such of an ass for being offensive or overly aggressive or something like that, instead of keeping up with the conversation that no, actually there are some things that are evil and some things that are clearly good. You know, they stopped the entire conversation, they stopped the entire argument to argue that, you know, you're being a aggressive cunt, basically, towards them, which has nothing to do with the conversation. And that's how the entire conversation stops. Because they are way too... They can't be asked to think any further than that. Like, they are willing to let the entire conversation or the argument sidetrack for simple reasons of, you know what, fuck that. I don't know. People like that just piss me off. And unfortunately, it's like everywhere where the fuck you go and who you talk to is all the same shit. And then there are some people who simply refuse to accept that they are wrong on some things. Good example of this is when I was arguing in the PUBG forums, incidentally. Somebody was complaining that there were a team. He was in a bush. He was basically camping. An enemy team came over and went past him into the blue zone. And they went over the hill and sniped people from the blue zone behind them. They had been there for X amount of time. And there's, first of all, no one... his argument was that no one would go to the blue zone. And the second argument was that there's no way they could have survived that long in there. And despite the whole fact that he was proven wrong solidly, like there's multiple reasons for you to go to blue zone, because, you know, people don't actually look you from there, so you can easily, if you have enough health kits, just stay in there and keep sniping on people who are like, oh my god, where is it coming from? Because they are not gonna be looking at the blue, probably. That's not gonna be the first place to look. So, it's a smart strategy. So, there we have a reason to go into the blue. Now, the whole thing, whatever you can stay there, if you have enough health items. And I just so happened to had a match where I started from military base. I had 2 first aid kits, I believe, a couple bandages, and maybe 4 boosters, tops. I think I had... Well, that's about rough estimate how much health I had. I couldn't find any more. And the white zone, or the area, the play area decided to go all the way to, I believe, 70, which is on the opposite side of the entire map. I couldn't find any cars. I had to run half of the map to finally find a car. I was that unlucky. But, so I was running solid 10 minutes in the zone with minimal health items. And I gave him the link, gave him the timestamps of everything happening. And told him, like, alright, here's a video, here are the timestamps. So, are you calling me a cheater now? And, you know what his response was? I'm not gonna watch your video, you self-promoting prick. And that was the end of the conversation. It's not possible, they are cheaters. Fuck off. That's basically what he said. So, not only there was a video evidence, his entire argument was bunked. And he still called the people cheaters. So, that's another example of the people and stuff. Now, Lockdie is not in a team. So yeah, rather than, you know, accepting he was wrong or going with the conversation, they're trying to prove his point by explaining why would it be, you know, cheats. His proof was his personal experience. That was his, that was the only thing he had going for him. It is not possible to survive in the zone for that long because he just knows it. Those three people that were in a team that were sniping from the hill in the blue were cheaters. He knows it. He doesn't need to watch a video that proves him wrong or argue in any shape or form. Yep. And this is more or less the same thing that keeps happening with the with all of that jazz. The Patreon, the YouTubers, yada yada yada. All that. There was a player here, and I just wonder where did he go? Probably here.
Alert. Industrial. Drop crate. ETA 60 seconds.
Industrial, you say? But yeah. And on the side note, like, when I get into arguments like that, I just completely ignore them when they call me shit and all that, and I'll just stick to the point and more or less just ignore most of the message that doesn't have anything to do with the argument in the first place. That although usually leads into the fact that, why are you not reading my whole message? Why are you just quoting parts of my thing? Which is... Isn't it obvious? Because half of this shit doesn't have anything to do with anything that we are talking about. It doesn't matter how much I offend you, it has nothing to do with the conversation at the hand.
Attention. Supply drop en route to industrial. ETA 5 minutes. Alert. Exercise concludes in 5 minutes.
You can call me a cunt as much as you want. It's not gonna change the fact that you can still sit and snipe in the blue zone just fine, especially so early on. For quite some time. Even if you have a low amount of meds. And yeah. So next time you're going to suggest a YouTuber to cover Interstellar Marines, write an essay why that would be a good thing. Why would the coverage be good for the game? What benefits would that have, if any? I will come and shoot it down regardless, probably. For being unrealistic the expectations. You know, people are gonna be probably think like, well, you know, if people see a YouTuber play the game, especially a big one, they are probably gonna buy the game. Or, you know, sure. And what then? It doesn't change a thing. You're gonna have to sell a hell of a lot of copies, more than just having a markiplier to check on the game to get anything done. Industrial, okay, that's not too far. I can get there if I'm quick. It's not gonna get the game finished. I would argue getting someone like Markiplier to cover the game currently would harm the game in the long run. In its current form. Rather than beneficial. It would scare away the potential future customers. That's the way I see it. Getting the attention to the game right now. And, oh god, like, I remember somebody saying that, you know, they should do another interview with Total Biscuit. No, absolutely not. That's the last thing you want to do. Because he would shoot, like, if you think I'm shooting down ideas, he would shoot the entire game. Like, there's, like, that's the worst thing you could possibly ever do. For the Interstellar Marines. To have him, Total Biscuit, cover it in this current form. That's just no-go. Nuh-uh. Anybody who watches TBs, like, if somebody actually thinks these ideas are good, no, actually, that's not the, like, if you think the game is in a, if you think it's in a good spot where, you know, it would be worthwhile to cover, I say no. That's just your personal. That's your personal bias talking. That's not objective thinking talking. That is taking account of realistic expectations of these ideas. So, yeah, there you have it. If you think that the game is good right now, so it would be covered by Total Biscuit, Beauty Pie, or Markiplier, or anyone that you watch, a big YouTuber basically, and you think anything good will come out of it, I'd argue that is your personal bias towards the game talking. As much as I like this game, I can only see harm coming its way in its current state to show it on anyone. I said it, basically, if you really want this to be shown, you need to recreate the Unreal Engine demo. Or just use that demo. If somehow Unreal gives you permission to do so. That's how it simply is. Just focus on getting the game into proper state where it actually is closer to its intended vision. And then you can start thinking about stuff. I've been your favorite Finn, and once again, I ran the shit out of myself. I'm gonna go to sleep. Have fun, guys. See ya.